You're holding a queen high flush on this runout. On the river, your opponent bets. Would you fold, call, or raise? Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to analyze another poker hand that I played in a live 5-5 cash game here in Switzerland. So this hand, we are in the cutoff position holding queen of clubs, 9 of clubs. And this hand is a bit something different because it includes an 8-way family pot. So we start with the under the gun player limping, the under the gun 1 player limping, the under the gun 2 player unfortunately doesn't join the family pot. He folds, low check calls, high check calls, and now we are in the cutoff with a $700 stack. It's a pretty healthy stack, I think. Here I decided to also limp. Our hand is not too strong. I don't really want to raise and load the pot too much, but I would also like to see a quick flop rather cheaply. So I'm okay with this limping strategy when the table is very limp heavy, and I don't really expect to the button or both of the blinds to raise over 5 limps, especially not on this table in a low stakes cash game. So the button also joins with a limp, small blind and big blind, both check their options. So with $40 in the middle and 8 people in this family pot, we are going to a flop, which hits our exact hand really nicely, and also pretty much our limping range. I think we can have a couple of small pocket pairs in there. Maybe 8s would have raised, but deuces could be in there. But also, in this specific instance, we flop a queen high flush, which is very nice. And with 8 people here in the pot, I hope that someone caught some piece of this flop in the form of either having an ace of clubs, king of clubs, with another kind of another suit, or maybe they even flopped a set or 2 pair here in this on this flop, which would be very nice because we are having a monster here. It continues with small blind checking, big blind checking, under the gun 1, low check and high check. So we have 6 checks in front of us, which I thought was okay. I don't think all of these people are very strong. Maybe they completely missed it. It's a monotone flop. I decided to charge any ace of clubs or king of clubs, naked ace of clubs, king of clubs, because I thought I don't want to give them good pot art to just see a 4th card on the turn and maybe even improving to something like an ace or king high flush, 4-card flush. So I decided to go rather large, 62% here, the $25 bet, which the button just flat calls, small blind, big blind, under the gun 1, low, get out of the way. And now it's a bit interesting, the low check, who checked before, now raises to 80, which is not such a huge raise considering that there is 2 people who open, like I opened to 25, the button just cold called to 25. And now we are facing this $80 raise, which I want to see in the terms that I want to blow the pot up with a queen high flush here. But the check raise was a bit suspicious to me because somehow I thought I couldn't really put him on a range, exact range, because I'm not really sure which hands check raise a monotone flop. So I was a bit cautious here, but I like the fact that we are now building this pot a bit, which I wanted with my initial $25 raise. Anyway, I call and the button, to my surprise, also calls. And this is one of the things that I want to also debate with you, because now on the turn and river, I always have the button who has position on me, and I never really know what he's going to do after, obviously, the low check does something and I call, and what is the button going to do? So I'm having a bit of a tough time being here in the sandwich. So we see a blank, the 5 of diamonds, which I like to see here in this position. It shouldn't really help anyone. If they had a set or 2 pair, they still have that, and they didn't get a full house because the board didn't pair. So now the low check, who check raised before, now goes ahead and bets $100, which is a bit more than 1/3 of the pot. Now the idea for me is It's maybe a mistake, but I wanted to keep the bluffs in, like an ace of clubs X, some other hand, or the king of clubs with something else, which is also a draw. It's kind of a semi-bluff, but I wanted to keep that in, but I also wanted the button for the $100 to join the party. So I just called this. I also wasn't sure if like maybe the nut flush, like an ace five of clubs, could be in there. Maybe that wouldn't have raised. I would probably raise ace five of clubs, but some people would have just maybe limped in. I didn't want to get value owned and just go raise this in this situation when I don't really know where I'm at. So I just call this, which is maybe a bit too cautious. Maybe I'm playing a bit too nitty. I have a decent-ish win rate for how I feel, but maybe I'm sometimes leaving a bit of value on the table. I think this $100 just calling might be a bit nitty for how strong my hand actually is. And the button also joins, which is interesting. I'm also a bit concerned about the button. Maybe he gets a bit trappy. Maybe he has the nut flush. I was a bit concerned about that. We see the four of hearts on the river. Now we're having the pot built to $580. I'm not really sure where I'm at here. Maybe some of you can tell me in the comments, would a nut flush or a king high flush still be in there? Do I actually beat any value when raising? This is what my question was when the low jack led out for 140, which is 1/4 of the pot. I think it's a good block bet from his side. I read a bit about block betting in a couple of books because if I raise, I should probably jam the 515. Like a min raise to like 300 would be, I would probably get called by something, by his value combos, but all the bluffs fold out, like the naked ace or king of clubs. This is what I was thinking in the game. So the block bet, my question is, should I raise here? I didn't want to overplay my hand, but I was a bit afraid of king of clubs, ace of clubs with a small club, like maybe king eight of clubs, maybe limped in there. I'm not so sure. So, and I was also a bit concerned about the button behind me, who, if I jam, he could just wake up with something very strong as well. So I was not so sure. Maybe also the fact that I wanted the button with a set or something to also call. Maybe a little bit of a flawed thinking, but I decided to just call this. The button gets out of the way. He said he indeed had two pair. I think he had check eight offsuit, but without the club. Like, no, that doesn't make sense. Sorry, a check eight offsuit, but yes, he couldn't with top two pair. He wanted to board to pair or to hit an eight or something like that, and he folded actually. And the low jack turns over 5-4 of clubs, which I think makes sense. It is a small suited connector that might have limped in and absolutely smashed this flop with a flopped flush. I could have probably gotten value from 5-4 suited. What do you guys think? If I jammed here, let's go back and take a look at this spot. 580 in the pot, he invests 140. He had a bigger stack than me. He was sitting there with like 2k. I'm having a queen high flush here. Until this day, I'm not really sure what value I'm beating. This is a value that I'm beating, but not much else. So I'm still not so sure about this call. Maybe if I had ripped it in for 515, do you guys think he would have called the 300 more? It's like nearly 400 more. It is a decent size raise to rip it all in. And if I just raise to 300, I'm basically pot committed. If he raises all in, then I have to call, and maybe I'm beaten then. Do you think, is there something like an underplay? I didn't want to overplay this hand, but I'm happy to take down this pot with the queen high flush against the 5 high flush. A pretty bad beat for him as well here to run into a higher flush, but that can happen if you play small suited connectors, which is sometimes you have to be very cautious, and he basically triple barreled here into me with this hand. So I'm not really sure if he might have overplayed in this position. Tell me in the comments what you would have done. I'm really interested. in the turn and the river decision. Do you think we should raise the turn here? I think I'm okay with just calling, taking a look what the river is going to bring, keeping the button in with $400, and now with the queen high flush, I would have probably should have raised here, and given the situation, I was a bit afraid of the button here, and maybe I left a bit of value on the table. Feel free to criticize me in the comments and tell me maybe I also misplayed another kind of streak. Maybe you would have raised pre-flop to get a couple of these limpers out of the way immediately. I was okay playing a family pot with this hand in this situation. An 8-way limped pot, not something that I see every day when playing at the live cash game table. Even though the tables are sometimes quite limp heavy, but 8 people in the hand is pretty much a rare occurrence, I think. Tell me in the comments what you would have done, and I'm gonna see you in the next video.